What's up everybody, Jesse here, and today I have three awesome guests with me to talk about all of the recent news that came out of the Nintendo's investors meeting, including Zelda Wii U being delayed, the launch of the NX getting a release date, and some other exciting news. So here with me, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Rick, why don't you go first?
Okay.
Yeah, Rick, go first.
I'm Rick, otherwise known as ARMFH, and I make Zelda Theory videos. That's basically about it right now.
Alright, I am Darren W. Hart II. I'm the managing editor of ZeldaInformer.com.
And hello, everyone. My name is Champion Ashley. I run a channel based around my original series called The Lore of Gaming, where I talk about the lore of specific video game franchise. And I also do some theories every now and then.
And to get to the first topic, I guess the most disappointing, Zelda Wii U is yet again being delayed. I think it was first delayed when it was supposed to come out in 2015. Now it's 2016, everyone was getting excited, the hype was starting to build back up for Zelda Wii U since E3 is less than 2 months away. Everybody was expecting a release date, some trailers, some gameplay footage, and then just several weeks in front of E3 we get this news that Zelda Wii U is being delayed for presumably another 6 months. If it's going to launch in March with the NX, then we can also assume that the original release date was sometime between September of this year and November. So I guess altogether it's been delayed for a year and a half. What kind of improvements do you think they can make in that time, or do you think the game just wasn't ready?
What I'm thinking is that they actually just need a little bit more time to analyze everything. I mean, yes, it's taken quite a very long time to do this, but I say if they need another year, give them another year. If it's going to be better because of that, I'll say give them all the time they'll need. The only thing that actually really did hype me about this is that we're finally going to get some more information about the game at E3. And the weirdest thing is that it's going to be the only game playable at E3, and that does kind of worry me.
Alright, and what about you,
Rick?
Rick?
It definitely does worry me.
Or, yeah, I guess you can go, Darren. Sorry.
Alright. Yeah, it worries me a little bit that it's the only game on the show floor, but at the same time it excites me because it makes me wonder how much of Zelda Wii U is going to be shown off at E3, considering it's the only game on the show floor. Alright, that's all I was going to say. What do you got, Rick?
Personally, I think the game is close to being done, for the Wii U at least. Anuma did come out and make a statement about how he was working on text, and he had worked on text at the end of, I think it was Skyward Sword. I can't remember the quote word for word, but it's towards the end of development for them, and I don't think that they would put out a playable demo for it at E3 if it wasn't. I mean, they have in the past, I believe, but I think it's pretty close to done with development on the Wii U. I think the reason that they've taken this step to prolong the launch date is simply for the fact that the NX is going to be coming out and they need it for the lineup.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, my thoughts on it, whenever I first heard it, immediately you get all the thoughts that, oh, this sucks, but then I started thinking about it with the delay and it being a dual launched on the NX. The first thing that came to mind was, is the game just not finished on the Wii U yet? Do they need this time to make the game better, and then with the last 2 months they're just going to give a simple port? Or are they going to take this time to, if the Zelda Wii U version is completely finished already and they just need this time to make the NX version look like a true next-gen version of this game, or at least make it look a little bit better, then you still need, even if it is just a little bit better, you still need that time to go through and add higher textures to all of the different dungeons and areas and everything. Even if it is just a minor difference in appearance, you still need the time to go through and do that. So it would make sense that they would take this extra 6 months to do that, but it just confuses me. And then with Zelda Wii U being the only game at E3, if we remember most Zelda games, whenever they show off demos, there's usually 3 different demos that we see. I think. Sorry for everyone listening. My daughter is here with me. So, with Skyward Sword and Wind Waker, are the only demos that I can think of from a home console Zelda game. They had 3 separate demos that you could do. I think one was for Skyward Sword, a boss battle against Girahim. One was, I think, inside of a dungeon, and then the other was in Skyloft during the Loftwing race.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you want these demos to take place? Do you want a demo where you're just wandering around the overworld? Do you want one at a certain village? Do you want one inside of a dungeon, another boss battle? What would you like to do if you were going to E3?
I have got 3 options. One, for the first demo, I'd like to explore around the overworld just to see how much they filled up, because I've one of my theories, or my first theory actually, was that there was probably going to be a sequel between Twilight Princess and Zelda Wii U, or Zelda NX now. Ugh. But I'm really hoping that they actually make the overworld a lot less barren and a lot more packed with stuff to do. So that's the first thing that I want to do. The second was to have a boss battle demo, just to see if they maybe changed up the mechanics of how a boss is beaten. I would really like to see. Also, I really want to see just one of the bosses, because they are known to making some of the best boss designs for video games. And the third, which I actually came out just now, was amiibo functionality. Because ever since they told me that the Wolflink amiibo was going to be playable with Zelda Wii U, I just thought there's going to be Zelda Wii U amiibos maybe. So maybe they might reveal amiibos for Zelda Wii U at E3, and you could use them for special kinds of functionalities.
Yeah, I think with it also coming to NX, Amiibo sold so well that you know they're not just going to leave Amiibo stranded on the Wii U. They're going to bring that functionality to the NX as well. So to see what kind of new Amiibo they can do and give the Amiibo different variety of Amiibo. We had in Twilight Princess, Sheik and Zelda did the same thing, and then the 2 different versions of Link did the same thing. If, say, Sheik, instead of refilling your hearts, would give you the red potion so you can refill it whenever you need to, and then Zelda would give you a fairy or something, just different variations on the same thing. Both are used to heal you, but they heal you in different ways. And then with the Link amiibo, instead of both refilling your arrows, if one was to refill your bombs or something, I think that would
I was thinking that maybe the Toon Link one would refill your bombs.
Yeah, like, I think a little bit more variation between what the amiibo does and their functionality with the Zelda Wii U would be nice, especially if they're going to be making brand new amiibo.
Yeah, that would definitely be nice to see.
And one more. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, the amiibos would definitely be nice to see. But I'd like to see, you know, what the horseback riding is like. I'd like to be able to, you know, I'm not going to E3, but if I was there, I'd love to be able to see, you know, a demo on just how Epona works. They said that you could feed Epona, you could do a couple different things with her.
You could do it Go Matrix style.
Yep.
I swear, it looks like bullet time in the Matrix.
Yeah, it does. I'd like to see how that works too. That would be probably my top 3: the amiibos, the bullet time, like Ashley said. And the horseback riding. I'd really like to see how that would play out.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'd like to see some of the horse mechanics, how they could improve on that from the Twilight Princess horse. You know, just some of the gameplay from that, the bullet time.
Yeah.
But going back to the amiibo, I know Nintendo has filed a new patent for the NX, which is a scanner that will scan figures, which is obviously amiibo. So I'm sure that amiibo will not only be compatible with Zelda Wii U, but also Zelda NX.
Yeah, and Rick mentioned that he won't be going to E3 this year, but if you remember the past few years, Nintendo has had deals worked with select retailers. I think recently it's been Best Buy that during E3 they have some of the demos that are playable at E3 also playable at Best Buy. They did it last year.
True.
They did it last
Yeah,
year
they
with
did that with Smash
I forgot
Brothers.
about that.
yeah, and they did it last year with Triforce Heroes and a few other games, and then they did it the year before that. So with the Zelda Wii U being the main focus at E3, more than likely that's going to be one of the games playable at whatever deal they work out with some of these retailers, whether it's GameStop or Best Buy or Target or whoever.
It's a very good point. I totally forgot about that.
So
I guess I'm going to be at Best Buy.
yeah.
I probably won't be able to go because I always have to work on school, which sucks.
Yeah. And to go back to Ashley's earlier statement, which Nintendo also said that Zelda Wii U was going to be the only game playable on the show floor. Nintendo did say that, but I think maybe people are taking this out of context. Maybe this is the only Wii U game that'll be playable, and they're still going to be showing off 3DS titles. Because we see they still have to announce some of their mobile games that they have partnered with DNA.
Yes,
So-
they have Fire Emblem and Animal Crossing.
Right. So I'm thinking maybe Zelda Wii U is going to be the main focus at E3, but maybe the first half of their conference is dedicated to whatever 3DS games or smaller games that they have yet to announce, and dedicated to their DNA plans, and then the entire second half will be all focused on Zelda Wii U. And you have to remember, their conference isn't the only time that they announce games. They always have the Nintendo Treehouse events after their conference that run all through E3. So there may be some announcements there as well. Plus, last year they had the Nintendo World Championship.
I would
where-
love to bring that back. That was so much fun.
And that's where they showed off the Metroid game for the first time, and they showed off, I believe, Mario Maker was playable for the first
Yeah, the
time
Metroid game that everyone hates.
there. So,
I was about to say that. Jesse, you don't want to talk about that. I think you'll get killed instantly.
so Nintendo has other ways aside from their main conference at E3 to announce games. So whether
they
or
could
not
even do a direct. I mean,
right, they could
it's not out of the ordinary for them to do that either. You know.
right. And then after their conference, they always have their roundtable meeting where Skyward Sword was first officially announced, I believe, and then they showed off the artwork for the game, where it was Link standing behind
With
Fi.
Fi.
Yeah, or Fi, however you pronounce her name.
I'm so sorry in the comments for everyone how I pronounce Fi. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I think it is Fi, like Fi.
Yes, Fi is the official pronunciation. I say it
Thank
Fi,
you.
but whatever.
Yeah, so Nintendo has several opportunities other than their main conference to announce different games. So I think when people hear this, they think it's just going to be Zelda Wii U the entire time. I don't think that's true.
It's overreaction.
Like, we seen that weird robot game and that game that ended up turning into the side Star Fox game.
Star Fox Guard, was
yeah.
it?
Yeah, we seen like the beta versions of those games at, I think, last year's E3 or the E3 before that, to where they were just tech demos, and then they ended up becoming fully fledged games.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
I
and
think we'll
and
see.
if I can say this, I know the announcement from Nintendo specifically said that Zelda Wii U was going to be the only playable demo there. People are mistaking this as it's going to be the only game that Nintendo has at E3. It's going to be the only demo, but it's not going to be the only game that they are featuring or not going to announce. They still have their digital presentation where I'm sure they'll be showing off a new game or two, some footage from upcoming games like Pokemon Sun and Moon. So Zelda Wii U will be the only demo, but I'm sure there'll be other games. Just want to clear that up.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And also that really bad Paper Mario game that no one wants to talk about. See, when you said that, Jesse brought up the point that maybe Zelda Wii U will be the only Wii U game that'll be talked about at E3. I'm pretty sure people should be thanking Nintendo because I've seen so many people attacking the new Paper Mario game. You should be thanking Nintendo because I'm pretty sure a lot of people would not want to hear about Paper Mario a second time.
Yeah, they haven't even seen a lot of the gameplay, but I know a lot of people who have seen the trailer just don't really like it. I think they should give it a chance, but who knows? It could be complete crap. So
Splatoon Paper Mario quality game.
Yeah, so moving on from Zelda Wii U at E3, what are your guys' opinion on the NX launching next year as opposed to toward the end of this year, because there's also the rumors of the PlayStation 4.5 or 4K, the Project Neo, whatever they're calling it. There's rumors of that, and then Xbox had a similar rumor where they were going to make an upgradable console, but they quickly said that that wasn't the case, which they could just be trying to dispel the
blowing
rumor.
Smoke up our butts.
Yeah, they could just be trying to dispel the rumor. That way, whenever they get to E3, they actually have a surprise to show off.
Yeah,
Because-
I know today another rumor surfaced. There was a screenshot of something called the Microsoft One, like Production 2 or whatever. So
Yeah.
I know maybe Microsoft is just blowing smoke, but I think Nintendo's decision to delay the NX to March 2017 is a good one. Because if the PS4.5 or PS4K, PS4 Neo, whatever you want to call it, if Microsoft and Sony launch their new consoles this fall or holiday, I think it's a good move for Nintendo to kind of push the NX back a bit, just so it doesn't have its thunder stolen away by Microsoft and Sony. Plus, as Nintendo's president Kimishima said today, the NX has been delayed to March 2017, so there will be games to go along with it, so that they can polish the games and make sure it has some solid launch titles.
And that means that Nintendo learned from the Wii U because, excuse me, back when the Wii U was released, all the Wii U had was Zombie U, which is hardly ever talked about. That was the big problem with the Wii U, and the reason why it didn't sell well is because there weren't a good quality of games to go with the Wii U. But this time I'm happy that they learned. And about the NX being released in March of next year, I just bought a Wii U on Christmas. The second that I decide I had to spend my Christmas money on a Wii U, nope. It's I'm
Yeah,
getting a certain sense of deja vu now.
I bought a Wii U for Hyrule Warriors, so I got mine a couple years ago. So I mean, I'm a little sad that the Wii U isn't going to get an exclusive Zelda game, but what are you gonna do? I'm gonna buy an NX on launch day and play it on there. So
Right. So, with the NX, do you think that it is moving out of the line of fire of the next PlayStation 4, or do you think that obviously Nintendo wants to launch the game with the best games that it can, but do you think that's just like a secondary excuse, that their primary reason was so they could get out of the launch window of the next PlayStation 4? I know the PlayStation VR is also launching later this year. Most people are going to be spending their money on that because most people already have a PlayStation 4 that are into hardcore gaming. So knowing that it's the same exact system, just more powerful, I think it's easier to bet on the sure thing than to go with this entirely brand new console from Nintendo when their last one was sort of a fluke. So I think people would rather risk spending their $400 or $500 on this new console from Sony or Microsoft instead of risking it on Nintendo. Do you think that played a part in their decision at all?
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely had to have played a part, along with the games. I think the games like played a heavy part in that, is that they wanted to have a good launch lineup for the NX. But I do think that, you know, not releasing it during the holiday season of this year was specifically for the fact that they didn't want to be in the crossfire of Sony or Microsoft.
And pretty much they would probably get exploded in the crossfire.
Yeah, between the two, you know, everybody is kind of set on either Sony or Microsoft for hardcore gamers, at least, if you want to get into third-party aspects, because Nintendo just doesn't have it third-party
I think what they need to do to seal the deal, to like seal their consumers, is to give like, I know that this might be expensive, but backwards compatibility, third-party support. Those things are what Microsoft and I think Sony have. Do they? Do they have third-party support?
Yeah.
They have third-party
Yes,
support,
they do.
most definitely.
Then
but
that's
the
probably what's
backwards-
going to get people invested into the NX. That combined with the March 27 release date, I think is going to land them a ton of cash.
Yeah, but going with the third party thing, most of the major games release around November or September, the holiday season, and with the NX not launching around that time, everyone that is interested in the next Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed, well, I don't think Assassin's
Who would
Creed's
want to
coming
be
out
interested
this
in
year.
Call of Duty?
Well, it's
Like, why would anyone buy COD? That's
well,
It was a big seller for the Wii. I know Black Ops 2 sold a lot of copies on the Wii, and
that
while a
was the
lot of
way, Darren.
while a lot of major third-party titles do launch during the holiday season,
yeah.
some launch in the spring, like Dark Souls 3 that just released. That's a huge title that just released in spring. So I mean, a lot of them do launch on the holiday season, but some don't.
Yeah, there's my point was, like, with all these major third-party games, most of them release around the holiday season. With NX not launching on the holiday season, then the people that are going to be buying the NX that are also interested in these major third-party games, they're going to be going ahead and buying them on the system they already own instead of buying them on the NX. So by the time the NX does come out and it does get whatever the next Call of Duty is or whatever the next major third-party games are, they're not going to get the people buying those games on that console. So this also seems like a misfire for Nintendo because they're going to get like the later versions of those games. Remember when the Wii U launched, it launched with Batman Arkham Origins, the Armored Edition or something, because everybody had already bought Origins that wanted to buy it for the PlayStation 3 or the 360 or for PC. But now it's releasing 6 months later or however long later on the Wii U, and everyone who's already interested in it has already bought it. So it leaves the Wii U with the game that's pretty much destined to fail.
I see your point there. And it does come down to the fact that, okay, say if a new Call of Duty launches and everybody's already got a PS4 and the new PS4 comes out too, either they're going to buy that new PS4,
Which
or
would
they're
be a
gonna
terrible
keep-
waste of money.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
saying.
if you're going to be upgrading, like I've never seen the sense in upgrading if it's just going to be a bigger storage unit or whatever. But
Seems
if
a
you're
bit
going
dumb.
to get that, you're either going to get that console or you're gonna buy the game on the one that you already have, rather than going out and buying a Wii U specifically for a third-party title. The
Right.
people that they're gonna get are the fans that are with Nintendo already, and they're gonna get some of the casuals. Don't get me wrong. There's people that still haven't bought a PS4 or Xbox One, but in the long run, for all those people that have, if it's Call of Duty, that's going to be their decision on which one they're going to buy. They'll probably go with the PlayStation 4, whoever has exclusive content as well.
Right. All right. So moving on to the next topic, unless Darren, you have anything else to add to this?
Oh no, I gave all my thoughts.
All right. So one of the things that I was thinking about that no one's really seemed to talk about is one of the rumors that came out recently, I believe maybe last month, about the NX, is that it was going to launch as two separate systems, that the handheld version of it was going to be launching later this year, with the actual console version of it launching early next year. And it seems that with the console version launching early next year, do you think that there will be plans to launch the handheld part of the system for this year, and they just haven't mentioned that yet?
I
And
think
that'll be
there
their-
could be a possibility because
that would seem
Nintendo's been very
very
secretive on the
interesting.
NX. Like, they've been very hesitant to call it a home console.
Yeah.
Whenever it's referred to, it's
Yes.
referred to as like a machine or a hardware concept.
Yeah, I've heard it being called a platform a lot.
Yeah, a platform. And I know it's been described as like a new way of thinking by Nintendo's president, so it could be a handheld and home console kind of like a combination system where, if you have both, you get some sort of benefits or whatever. I think that's a possibility. I just really don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait until Nintendo announces something.
I actually just thought of this brilliant idea. It might be brilliant, or maybe I just might be dumb. But what I was thinking about was maybe the reason why they're starting to get into the mobile business now is because, I mean, they could have gotten to the mobile business for years ago when mobile phones started getting popular. So my question is, why now? Why are they focusing on mobile games? Why are they trying to focus really hard on mobile games now, just when the NX is about to release? So what I was thinking was, combining the mobile games and the handheld console rumor, what if your phone, a mobile game for your phone from Nintendo, and a mobile game for the handheld on the NX could all relay their information? It's a bit like Hyrule Warriors Legends, where you play on one console and then it can transfer to the original console, like transfer information. Like say that you have Miitomo on your mobile game and your phone and on the Wii U. What if you could actually send information to the NX where you can like continue playing? Except I don't know, that theory just kind of fell apart in my hands.
Well, that's already something similar to what certain PlayStation games do. If they have cross-play and cross-save compatibility, then you can load your save file from your PlayStation Vita to your PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 and continue playing where you left off. So it's
and
something.
Nintendo is doing that with their mobile apps too. With Miitomo, if you have a Nintendo account and you have multiple devices, and if you have the app on all the devices and you log in with the same account, you can just use your account data and continue where you left off.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Rick, what do you think on the subject?
You guys have basically covered everything that I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Nintendo, they've been trying to unify a lot of platforms. Like, they've been implementing cross-buy with the 3DS and Wii U. If you buy one title on the 3DS, you get on the Wii U and vice versa. And also, I've looked at some of the slides from a previous investors meeting, and so there's some pretty interesting stuff on there about My Nintendo and how it will work with Wii U and 3DS and the NX, how it will kind of unify everything. You'll be able to transfer data between social networks, consoles, mobile apps, and whatever Nintendo has in the future. So I think your theory is definitely plausible, and I'd really like to see it happen.
Yeah, because they haven't enacted any cloud-based servers yet, have they? Like with the Wii U or anything like that?
I don't think so.
No, they're basically unified just by your My Nintendo account. There's really no cloud.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think one of the next topics of news. Can you guys remember any of the news from last night?
Let me see. What do you guys think about the concept art that they showed off on their Twitter? I thought it looked absolutely gorgeous. What did you guys think? And do you think that there's any kind of like special kind of stuff in the concept art that maybe might become significant
I know
in the game?
Yeah, I know one thing is in the concept art is you see Link has a book on his belt.
Yes, it looks like
book
a.
is the book is the same book from the 16 seconds of footage we got from the last Nintendo Direct when they revealed Twilight Princess HD. So I think the game could tie into the book, maybe even the title be tied around the book, like the Book of Time or, Majora's Book or whatever. Not like that, but something more creative. But
Majora's Book. I would kill for that.
like a Majora's Mask
Majora's
sequel,
Mask
Twilight
is my
book.
favorite Zelda game.
But the book does have like a Sheikah symbol on it, so maybe it could be Book of the
Yes.
Sheikah or whatever.
Maybe we might get a little bit more light into how maybe they might give us some more information on the Sheikah,
Yeah, I would
like
think
how
so.
their culture works.
I know me and Nate, the editor-in-chief of Zelda Informer, were talking today, and he thinks he would love it if the games were surrounding the Sheikah and the uprise of the Sheikah and how they came to be and whatnot. Just give us some more backstory and lore into that, and in some area of the timeline when the Sheikah come, around and do their thing. But yeah, I think that art is amazing. I think Link looks awesome, and
It looks so beautiful, and it surprisingly looks a lot like a bit like Skyward Sword's first concept art, where it was like using the brush technique. I'm pretty
And
sure Jesse could like flash a picture on screen, but it looks a lot like um they were. It looked a lot like it was just freshly painted, and that looks really cool.
Yeah, and I know I did see a comparison on Twitter of some art from Twilight Princess and the new art, and they actually look really similar. Like I know the style, the painted style kind of looks like Skyward Sword's art, but if you look at the Link models, the eyes are completely the same. I mean, it's a different tunic, obviously, but they really look the same. So that the similarity between the art, the Wolf Link amiibo support for Zelda Wii U and NX, I think maybe this could tie into Twilight Princess a bit. That's my theory right now. That I just kind of thought of that.
Yeah.
Darren, are you actually suggesting that my theory could be correct?
I think so.
Because I made a theory about a couple months ago about the similarities between Twilight Princess and Zelda Wii U, where in the end of the game, Minna shatters the mirror of Twilight, or so we thought, because the entire mirror shatters, but pieces, like the original pieces in the mirror of Twilight, just fly off screen. And that's a detail that a lot of people overlooked. And what I was
I
thinking
totally
was that
agree with you.
Yeah.
what I was thinking was that maybe Link could be off on a mission to go gather up all the other pieces of the Mirror of Twilight and finally return back to the Twilight Realm. And there's also been a lot of speculating that the Sheikah and the Twili are connected somehow, so it could all fit in together.
I
Yeah,
think so.
and to add to that, if you remember Majora's Mask, the whole basis of that game was Link was off on an adventure to find an old friend that he had lost, which was Navi.
Oh my gosh, Jesse,
Twilight
are
Princess.
you actually thinking that maybe Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, and the Sheikah could all be connected, and this could be all like a giant connection game?
Well, I think
That would be amazing.
Loreception.
yeah. I think that the Sheikah being involved with Zelda Wii U is a big obvious by now. Everyone
Yes.
should know that. Because of the lens of truth or the Sheikah symbol on the book. So with that,
Some people actually say that, and it looks like a tablet, but I'm sticking by it looking like a book.
my
Looks
my
like a tablet in the
personal
concept art.
my personal thoughts on that is maybe it's a book where in past games Link has been able to cast spells. The Sheikah's known to be a magical tribe. Maybe that's this Link's way of using whatever version of Din's Fire or whatever spell he can cast. Or maybe we know that the Book of Medora was supposed to be a book containing ancient history and ancient language text and stuff like that, and maybe just as in other games, whenever you, like in Twilight Princess, when you defeat one of the bosses, you get another piece of the shard. Maybe in this game, when you defeat a boss, you get another chapter of the book that lets you cast a spell to unlock another region of the game, or something similar to that.
Yeah, it would be like the Mirror of Twilight, but maybe it'd be instead of the Mirror of Twilight, you get the book where instead of a shard, you get a page. That actually would put a very nice twist and kind of connect my theory.
Yeah, I know,
and-
Jesse, you had a previous theory about the book that I think I was on, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, that was an interesting theory. I think you were kind of spot on with that. Like maybe the Book of Medora and your speculation from earlier about maybe you get like a new chapter each time. From what Ash and I were talking about earlier, I think this book is going to be a focus of Zelda Wii U and NX.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and we seen it, I think, in the remake for Ocarina of Time, as I mentioned in the theory video, that they added the book into Ocarina of Time 3D for almost no reason, except just to add additional content.
It's all right.
Yeah,
Aw.
she sees the glowing light on the microphone and she's trying to get it. Yeah. So, and then, like some of the other games with Zelda's father and Skyward Sword, he was holding the book. So this is a book that's existed for a long time. They just got finished remaking Twilight Princess, which had the Ancient Sky book, which in the theory I suggest that maybe between the time of Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, which is hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe they forgot the true origins of the book and they just remember, well, this is a very, very old, ancient book, and we know it's from somewhere in the sky. So they forgot it was the Book of Medora from Skyloft or something, and they just call it the Ancient Sky Book, being as literal as possible.
I think the better question that we'd ask is that book the exact same book? Because I think the Book of Medora would probably be dust by the time we get to Twilight Princess. You said it was hundreds of years. How is that book still standing?
It could be reproduced, second edition.
That's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to joke, like I always do.
Off the topic of the theory, back to the artwork, I was looking at A Link Between Worlds, and it actually looks a lot more like A Link Between Worlds, like the chalky kind of texture, compared to like Skyward Sword's watercolor.
Oh yeah, I think you may be right. Yeah, I'm looking at the two images now, and that's a good comparison.
Which I like that a lot. I like that they went with the more chalky kind of pastel art style there, with the Zelda Wii U concept art. I'm wondering if we're gonna get more in this style, or if it's gonna change or anything like that.
And what's funny is that Link Between Worlds was being developed alongside Zelda Wii U, so maybe the same concept art style was for Zelda Wii U.
Maybe.
As a different Link Between Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to see Ravio again. That's all I want.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Yeah. All right, so the final two things that I want to talk about before we end this, because it's been going on for quite a while. I want to know, with Zelda Wii U and Zelda NX, obviously I think a lot of us believe that Zelda Wii U is already finished. They're just working on making the NX version look as good as it could possibly be and run as good as it can possibly run on the NX, since it is new hardware and a new system. They want to take advantage of it. So what kind of features do you guys think is going to separate the two? If you think back to Twilight Princess, obviously the GameCube version was 4:3 aspect ratio, with the Wii version being 16:9, and then the map was flipped and you had motion controls added. So what differences do you think will be in the Wii U version and the NX version of Zelda Wii U?
Well, I know definitely the control scheme. Obviously, we don't know what kind of a controller the NX is going to have. I mean, we can look at patents, but patents look a lot different from the gamepad. You know, the gamepad, it's big, has a screen on it. It's used for, the map. We saw that in the E3 2014 footage, 15, or no, the Game Awards footage. Miyamoto is using, or Gnomo was using the map and showing Miyamoto how the controller worked, and how that worked, and the gyro aiming and whatnot that we saw in Twilight Princess HD that is also in Zelda Wii U. The thing is, if it moves over to NX, it's going to have to adopt that control scheme. So if the NX does have kind of a gimmicky controller, like the Wii had the motion control remote, the Wii U had the tablet controller gamepad, it all depends on what the NX controller will be. If it'll just be kind of like a standard looking controller, kind of like the Wii U Pro controller, or whether it'll be more on the gimmicky side, and of course the visual aspects as well.
Yeah, I could definitely see the Wii U version possibly struggling with frame rate. The NX version will probably be a solid 60 frames per second, hopefully, depending on what kind of hardware it's running. We still don't know. But I could see, because the Wii U struggles with Hyrule Warriors, and you get 2 players on there and it struggles even more. So
yeah, it takes a hit in graphics when you have 2 players on there.
Yeah, it does.
I'm scared that the normal 3DS can't handle Hyrule Warriors Legends, and I wanted to play that game so badly on my 2DS. It scares me that Hyrule Warriors can't handle it.
And you can't.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with most of you all that I think the major differences will just be that the Wii U version will be 720p at 30 frames a second, and the NX version will be presumably at 1080p and 60 frames per second.
Oh
Plus,
no, Jesse, I'm hoping for 4K.
oh, yeah.
If it
Well,
wants to be as good as the PS4,
if-
I'm saying go the highest you can.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that the NX may have 4K output for games because if you look at the PlayStation 4, it came out. By the time the NX will be out, it'll be about 3 years since the PlayStation 4s came out. So if you put out a brand new console that's on par with other consoles that came out years ago, then what's the point of releasing that console? Because you're just going to have to release another one to match the consoles that are coming in just a couple of more years. So I think it'll be somewhere between the PlayStation 4 and whatever the rumored PlayStation Neo is. And maybe that's the reason that these rumors started coming out, because PlayStation, they bragged about having the most powerful console. You can play certain games at 1080p when on Xbox One you have to play at 720p or 900p. And now if Nintendo, which over the past few console generations is known for having the weaker console, but now suddenly they have a console that's more powerful than yours when you have all the bragging rights. Maybe that's somewhat influenced them to kind of sneak in this PlayStation Neo to where they can one-up Nintendo once again.
Mm-mm.
So who knows? That's all just speculation, but
Yeah,
still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it sounds plausible.
It does. They could definitely be holding it in their hip pocket.
All right. So the final thing that I want to discuss is potential. Give me 3 NX launch titles that you personally want, and 3 that you think are going to be obvious. Now we know Reggie. I believe it was Reggie had the comment at last E3 that when fans were saying that they didn't want Metroid Federation Force, he made the comment saying that he knows this isn't the Metroid game that fans want. So maybe by him saying that, he was kind of hint towards they know what the Metroid fans want and they're working on it. He just can't announce it. So instead of saying that, he says, we know this isn't the game that they want. And then we also know that during an interview last year, I believe, Miyamoto said that Pikmin 4 was getting close to being finished, and he didn't know what platform it would be launching on. Obviously, he couldn't go ahead and announce an NX launch title a year or so before the NX comes out. So, without saying, obviously it's not coming to the Wii U. I think that's another
the Wii U
possible
already
title.
has a Pikmin game.
Yeah. So I think that's another launch title that we can expect. And during that same interview, he mentioned that of the ideal of working on a sequel to, or another sequel to Super Mario Galaxy.
What I was thinking was that this might be completely out of the loop, and I know that we're getting Pokemon games this year, but I think that a console Pokemon game would actually be really, really good. I mean, these days, Game Freak has been going above and beyond with the graphics. Now it's moved away from sprite graphics to 3D graphics, and if Game Freak could do that on the 3DS, I'm very, very confident that Nintendo and Game Freak could do that on the NX. I want a full-fledged Pokemon game, HD models, Pokemon models. I would like to visit more than one region at a time, because they got that on the nail with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and I want that concept to return. I just would really like, because I really like the original GameCube Pokemon games. They looked really cool, and I think that they really need to come back on that, because I think that would make a lot of people happy. Also on Pokemon, I know that this might be overdue, but still, they said that they're going to keep on supporting Wii U games, so maybe there's still a slight chance to get a Pokemon Snap U. So many people want it because it sounds like the perfect game for the Wii U, and it's so surprising that they haven't come out with this yet.
Yeah, I think the Pokemon Snap U, if the NX has the same type of controller setup that the Wii U does, I think that is a possibility for the future. Or that could be a potential mobile game that they make with DNA, since you already have a camera on your cell phone, and then the whole augmented reality thing with Pokemon Go, it's almost the perfect setup for that. But going back,
Maybe Pokemon Go could also play with like I said, the possible Pokemon console game, like with its compatibility with your mobile game and the NX. Maybe that'll help out. Like
yeah,
maybe if you could catch Pokemon in real life, and then you could help fill up your Pokédex in the game that you have on the NX. That would be really cool.
right. But going back to what you mentioned earlier with the Pokemon game, so you're basically saying your ideal launch title for the NX would be a Pokemon Coliseum or Pokemon Gale of Darkness game, but with the models and running on the same engine as the Pokken tournament game.
I would like to have a full-fledged main canon, like in the same and grand scheme, because the Colosseum and Gale of Darkness games are like spin-offs. They're like non-canon to the main series games. I would like a full-fledged main series title for the NX that has some compatibility with Pokemon Go.
All right. All right. So that would be interesting to play, especially with the cross compatibility between the different games. But going on to Darren, what are some games that you would like to see, and what are some games that you think are going to be obvious that Nintendo releases on the NX?
Well, games I would like to see. I would like to see Zelda NX as a launch title. They said Zelda Wii U was coming to NX, but they didn't say when it would release. I think it's kind of obvious that it will be a launch title, and I hope it is. I hope that's true. The second one that I would think is Mario Galaxy 3. That's something that I would really like. I really enjoyed Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2. And fun fact, Mario Galaxy 2 is the only like direct Mario sequel like that's named 2. Everything else is like New Super Mario Bros. U, New Super Mario Bros. 3DS, New Super Mario Bros. Whatever. But this is Mario Galaxy 2. Like, it is a true sequel, and I'd like another sequel, Mario Galaxy 3. Another game I'd like to see is definitely Pikmin 4. That's been in development for a while. I think it's going to be a great game, and I think on the NX, it would sell a lot of copies. As far as 3 titles that I think would, it's common sense that Nintendo's going to have them. I already said Zelda NX. I think that's going to be a launch title. Unfortunately, as much as I want Mario Galaxy 3 to be a launch title, I think we'll end up getting a new side-scrolling Mario, kind of along the lines of New Super Mario Bros. U,
So
but instead
what
New Super Mario Bros. NX.
with the Mario game, because Nintendo has to have some type of Mario game at a Nintendo console launch. What are your thoughts on the rumors that Luigi's Mansion 3 is going to be a launch title?
I think that is a plausible rumor. I can definitely see that happening. With the Luigi's Mansion game coming to the 3DS and kind of reviving the franchise, I think, the sales proved to Nintendo that, hey, people love Luigi's Mansion, and I think we could make a lot of money on it with the NX. So I think that's actually my third choice, is Luigi's Mansion 3 for the NX.
All right, and what about you, Rick? What are some games that you would like to see?
If I had to pick, I'd have to say I'd like to see maybe a definitive edition for Smash, maybe.
Ooh,
That
yeah.
that would be pretty
Yes.
cool to see. Just transferred over, so then people that want to continue playing it and have it on a up-res scale could. Mario
With
Kart
Shovel Knight
2.
and Goku.
And have the DLC characters as regular unlockable characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd also like to see maybe Mario Kart and let's see what else. Maybe like a Pokemon Stadium type of game, kind of along the lines of what Ashley said. But I'd like it to be able to also connect with the new Pokemon Sun and Moon, which I mean that's going a little bit far out there, but I would love to see a game like that at launch, but I highly doubt it will happen.
Yeah.
Specific games that I think will be at launch, I'd say Zelda NX. It's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure, you know, if they're gonna be smart about this, they want to make a ton of money, they'll launch that game at the NX's launch. I could see Mario, either Mario Galaxy or, like you said, Darren, a scrolling type Mario, being a definite launch title, and Pikmin 4 for sure.
Awesome. All great games. And Ashley, on yours, you just mentioned Pokemon. What are a couple of other games that you would like to see?
I'd like to see Pikmin 4 because the Pikmin series looks very interesting and I want to get into it. But I'd like to have the Pikmin have, like, I'd like to see a new Pikmin game on the NX. And also, we need the purple Pikmin back. They need to bring back the purple Pikmin to Pikmin 4. If they can do that, I will love them and kiss them and hug them.
Right. We'll be sure to corner Miyamoto at E3 and give him that. We'll relay that message.
Bring back
for you.
purple Pikmin or else.
All right.
Ready
So
statement.
thank you all for joining on this discussion. Sorry it went a bit longer than expected, but hopefully the people watching were entertained the entire time. So for those that are watching that aren't completely familiar with who you guys are, if they wanted to find out more about you or check out some of your content, where could they go, Ashley?
YouTube.com/Champion Ashley, or you can just search it into in the search box, type capital CHAMPION, capital ASHLEY, Champion Ashley.
No space.
No space. Exactly.
Right. And RMFH, I think my subscribers would be most familiar with you, but for those that aren't, where could they find you?
You can just search me on YouTube, RMFH or RMFH Gaming, and also on Twitter at RMFH Gaming. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right. And yourself, Darren?
You guys can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/RealDarren, RealDERN. And also, if you're on ZeldaInformer.com, if you look at the articles, chances are my name is next to one of them, so you can click on that and there's some information about me there.
All right. And thank you guys once again for watching the video, and please check out all of these other awesome guests that are on here. Thank you.